Hi there, Yvonne Renee Dials here from A Warrior's Place. I'm in my studio. This is the first video I'm doing in the studio. This is my favorite corner, and it's the only corner I'm going to show you because the rest of it's a bit of a mess. That's okay. It's coming along a lot quicker than I thought. We'll be opening the first week of February. So today I wanted to bring to you a gentle yoga class, because it is a great way to learn how you can use certain props in yoga, in your yoga practice or in a yoga class, to make your practice better. Those things can help you get into poses. I don't know if I want to use the word better, but in certain poses, our spine alignment is very important. So they help you with that spinal alignment. They help you get into poses deeper, as well as straps. Straps can really help you if you are not very flexible, or if you want to be more flexible. A strap can really help you do that. And if you don't have a strap, any kind of rope or a tie will work. Anything like that, even a towel could work. I've done some home videos using a towel. So let's get started. I'm going to come back to my mat. Let you see this beautiful. So what do I have here? I have this very cool, big yoga meditation cushion that my beautiful daughter got me. Why in the world would we want to use a cushion? So I don't have these in classes. I have these in my home that I use. They are good if you struggle, and a lot of people struggle with sitting like this. This is called easy pose, and we do it a lot in our yoga practice. Sitting on a cushion or just a pillow, you don't have to have anything fancy. This one's really nice because it's big. So this helps you, it brings your hips up higher, and it just helps you relax your knees over a little bit easier. So if you are someone who struggles with opening your knees, rotating your hips open like this, using a pillow down on the mat, I do a lot of spinal stretches down on the floor. So this would really help you if you're tight in this area, okay? Of course, the yoga mat. I have found a lot of great yoga mats at TJ Maxx. It's really important not to have a mat that's too thick. You don't want it to be squishy. You want it to have a good thickness, but not for your feet to squish down. Lululemon, once or twice a year, they have a wonderful, wonderful sale, and they have what I have found to be the best yoga mats for yoga. So we are going to get started. I have 2 of these gentle yoga classes on the schedule right now. I may add 3. And yeah, so let's start in that easy pose. First thing we always want to do when we come to our mat and we start our practice is to bring ourselves to our mat. What am I talking about when I say that? We want to become mindful, and to do that, one of the best ways is to focus on your breath. I teach my practices using pranayama breath. It's the breath of life. It is the absolute best breath that you can breathe. We do that by breathing in through our nose, following it. Okay, we want to take it down into our lungs, maybe even push it down a little further. And then we want to exhale really big out the mouth. You want to make sure you've relaxed your jaw. Okay, that means kind of dropping your chin a little bit. And that also means dropping your tongue. So if we just do a little exercise here, I'll show you how that can just de-stress your face and yourself by doing that. So if you hold your mouth together, and sometimes we even kind of purse our lips together if we're in deep thought, or we're working, or we're driving. we do that and we tend to breathe in and out of our nose. That can agitate you. It creates heat. It's actually called fire breath in yoga, and it can be used in certain practices and in certain situations to warm your body up, especially in like a Bikram class where you go very slow and you settle in to your poses for a long time. That heated fire breath can be very useful. My practices, I want to do the best breath that you possibly can, and I know that to be pranayama breath. So, if you push your lips together, and let's just do 4 or 5 of those fire breaths, okay? Breathing in and out your nose. Now release, okay? Drop your jaw. You don't have to do too many of those to see how that can create a little, that heat. It can kind of make you a little bit more stressed than you were before. And then when you open up that mouth and you let that breath, you exhale it out, you feel so much more relaxed. So when you're inhaling in through your nose, think of your nasal cavity as like a chemical factory. Okay, when you breathe in that new oxygen, okay, it's going to create nitric oxide, which goes into our lungs. And what does that do? It makes our lungs bigger, okay? It just does a lot of wonderful, amazing things, has great benefits as it's going down into our lungs, okay? When we open our next exhale, we are getting rid of that CO2. Our CO2 is what we do not need anymore, okay? So we want to get that out, and we want to try to make our exhales longer than our inhales, because we really just want to empty our lungs out of, again, all that stuff that we don't need. So you will hear a lot of times in yoga, inhale in the good, exhale out the bad. That's exactly what that is. That's exactly what we are doing. We are inhaling, getting all those benefits of those chemicals that it's creating in our nasal cavity, taking it down, doing all those wonderful things for our lungs, okay, also our heart, and then we're getting rid of all the bad juju that we don't need. Fun fact, that's how we get rid of 80% of the fat that we've used in our body, our exhales. So don't you want to just exhale like crazy now? Yeah? All right, so let's sit here, and we're going to do some breathing practices first, breathing exercises. So I want you to just close your eyes. First of all, whenever you're in a seated pose, you want to think about lengthening yourself up. You want to start thinking about that spine, kind of lengthening up. Pretend like you've got a string attached to the top of your head, lifting you up. You want to roll your shoulders back so you feel like you've gotten some openness, okay, in your chest and in your heart and in your lungs. Relax your hands wherever they're comfortable. Maybe start to think about those core muscles a little, okay, right below your belly button. Maybe just kind of pull them in and engage them. And then we're going to close our eyes and let's do 4 big pranayama breaths. Breathing in through the nose. Exhaling really big out the mouth. All right, open those eyes. That's just an amazing breath, isn't it? So not only for yoga practice, but in your daily life, that's the kind of breath you want to think about doing and practicing. So let's take that a little bit further. Let's do some deep belly breathing. So I want you to interlace your fingers and put them right under your belly button, right over top of your belly button. That's where your core sits, your core muscles sit. And our core is where we hold our balance. It's also where we hold our, what am I thinking of? Our confidence. They say the stronger your core, the more confidence you have, and I think all of that kind of goes together. When you have a stronger core, you have better balance, you have a better posture, and all of that just kind of makes you a little bit more confident. So belly breathing, similar to pranayama breath, except when you inhale in, I really want you to press that inhale all the way down to the base of your spine. So that's going to be a deeper inhale. And then when you exhale, I want you to push out on that belly, push out on your core muscles as you do that big open mouth exhale, okay? So let's do 4 of those. Close your eyes. Inhaling really big. Push that new air down as far as you can. Now exhale out, pushing out into the belly muscles. Keep going. Relax. How was that? I love doing that. I love feeling my core muscles and engage and just kind of feel that strength there. I don't know if you noticed, but my last couple of breaths, I was making a little bit of noise as I was pushing that air out. Ujjayi breath. That is very good for your vocal cords. So when you do those deep breathing exercise, never a bad idea and a good idea as you're pushing that air out. Some people call it the snake noise, okay? Think of Harry Potter, right? Where he's sending that out. Talk, Slytherin, or whatever it is, how you talk snake. It's good for you. It's good for your throat. So close your eyes. Don't worry about if you're in class, anybody watching you, nobody's watching you. Okay, make that noise as you're pushing it out your throat, okay? Let me think, is there any other breath that I want to talk to you about? There are a lot of breathing exercises out there, and some that I do in my classes. The thing to remember is they correlate life longevity with the amount of breaths we take per minute. So what does that mean? That means we really need to slow our breath down and be able to take as few breaths as we can. So if we think about a 1 minute time frame, when you're at home, set your timer and do those big pranayama breaths and go as slow as you can and see how many that you're doing. You should be able to be in that 4, 5, 6 breaths range. I'm able to get myself to 2 breaths. I can inhale and exhale in 30 seconds each time, which is very good. So hopefully, God willing, that means I'm going to have a long life. Swimmers are said to be the most complete athlete and have the best lungs, the largest lungs. Why? Because they are able to hold their breath for an extended amount of time. So that's another thing to practice. I do, at nighttime before I go to bed, I do a lot of breathing exercises where I breathe in 4, and I hold for 4, and then I exhale out for 8. Sometimes I change that up, and I inhale for 4, I exhale for 8, and then I hold my breath for 8, okay? So either of those combinations is a good way to just really try to slow your breath down, okay? All right, so let's kind of start into this practice now that we've gone over the most important part of yoga. Breathing, pranayama breath, focusing on your breath, being mindful is, in my opinion, the most important part of your practice. We learn to flow and move by breathing and doing certain movements at the same time, which can really help your practice, okay? So we're gonna move into our first set of spinal exercises, which for me is usually cat-cows. So if we get into a table pose on your hands and your knees, and by the way, if you struggle coming into table pose, maybe because of your hands or because of your knees, you could buy knee pads for your knees as well as your wrists. You can also pull back your mat to have a little bit more cushion for that. You can also do seated cat-cows. So from that easy pose, you could do cat-cows there instead of on your hands and knees. Okay, so I'm going to do this from table. And we want to inhale when we drop the belly and open the chest. We're lifting our chin for our cow. And then on our exhale, okay, start lifting the core, lifting the belly, rounding the back. Okay, really rounding and then tucking your chin. Inhale, drop down, back for your cow. Exhale, up for your cat. And let's do 3 more. Let's get another one in just because it feels so good. And we'll get back to that neutral table position. Now in my cat-cows, I always cue the tops of the feet down so that you're stretching and lengthening the tops of your feet. However, if you are better able to balance by tucking your toes, then by all means, tuck your toes, okay? All right, so we're gonna tuck our toes right now. We're gonna come on up into our first down dog. Relax your head. And here, we always wanna walk the dog, and that means bicycling the knees. Okay, we're coming up to tippy toes when we do that, and then we're pushing back on our heels. And then we also want to take our chest and push it back to our legs. Now, I can push back on my heels and have my legs straight, but not everybody can do that. So I suggest bending your knees and pushing back on your chest that way. Okay, bent or straight, that doesn't matter. You do whatever's most comfortable to you. Few more bends. Pressing the chest back, lengthening the spine. You're also taking your weight off of your hands when you do this. Now come on up to your tippy toes and we're going to walk to the top of our mat. And we're going to go into ragdoll. So grab your opposite triceps and bend your knees, almost like a squat, and relax over your legs. So you can choose just to hang here. We're getting that spinal extension in here. I love to bounce here. I feel like it's just giving me an overall stretch. Maybe sometimes swaying from side to side. So lengthening the spine this way is actually called spinal flexion. Okay, we're lengthening it, straightening it, getting it longer, making sure all those discs in our spine are staying where they should be. And bend those knees as much as you need to. Now, take your hands down and bring your feet in and relax into your forward fold. And we're just going to roll ourselves up from here. Rolling the shoulders up to the ears. Down the back, I want you to reach to your mat. Okay, standing mountain pose, standing low mountain pose. You want your feet to be hip width apart. This is a grounding pose, a rooted in pose. So I want you to think about all the edges of your feet. The only part you don't want to push in is that arch in your foot, the middle of your foot. Everything else, I want you to take a few seconds and get grounded in. And we want to work our way up our body from there. So once you've gotten grounded, start to work your way up your legs. Okay, don't tighten your knees, okay, don't lock your knees. You should have a little bend in your knees. Think about tightening your quads, tightening your glutes. And then from here, we want to lengthen up. Again, we want to think about a string attaching to our head and pulling ourselves up. We've engaged our core by pulling that belly button back. We've lengthened ourselves up. We've opened our heart and our lungs and our chest. Okay, fingers just kind of flutter to our sides. We're looking straight forward. And we are focused on being here. Okay, grounded poses are about feeling like you're rooted in, you're grounded in, and you have a purpose. Okay? We do a lot of grounding and rooting in poses in our classes. We're just going to breathe here. And then we're going to do some spinal stretches, okay? These spinal stretches you can do seated or you can do standing. Now seated, even in a chair. You can do them in a chair, seated on the floor, on your mat, or standing. So let's bring those arms up. Okay, we're going to push our palms together. We want to make our spine longer, and then we want to do a lateral spinal stretch to one side. You want to keep the bicep right over your ear and go as far as you can. Okay, you should still be nice and grounded through both your feet. Make sure you haven't leaned more onto one than the other. Still nice and grounded, and then come on back up. Now we're going to go to the other side, but we want to lengthen that spine first, and then go over to the other side. Grounded in through our feet, still doing nice big pranayama breaths. That bicep is right over our ear. And then come on back up, and then just relax your arms. Woo. So, if I had a slinky here with me, I've used slinky in practices, I would show you the importance of, lengthening before you stretch. Okay, there are several poses we do in yoga where you want to lengthen first. We lengthen as we inhale, and then we go to the side, or we twist, or we get into a different pose in that exhale. Okay, so always try to remember that. Lengthen first as you inhale. Make that spine longer, okay? It's ready to do that next pose, whatever that may be, and then you're going to be able to get deeper into that stretch or that pose. So now we're going to do our twist, okay? We did our side, our lateral, okay? Now we're going to do the twist on each side. Bring your arms up. We're lengthening as we inhale. And now we're twisting as we exhale. And we're reaching that back hand to the back of the room, the front hand to the front of the room. Now let's take a couple deep breaths here. Now raise that back arm back up. We're going to inhale and lengthen again. And then we're going to exhale and open twist to the other side. Back hand reaches to the back. Front hand reaches to the front. Stay here and breathe. Inhale back up, both arms come up, and exhale down. If you are doing these at home, at least 3 to 5 rounds of breath in each of those stretches, each of those poses, okay? All right, so we did our spinal flexion by being in our ragdoll, a forward fold also. We need to do our spinal extension, which is, think of a back bend. It doesn't need to be very far. Okay, but we wanna, let's do it this way. Let's just take our hands and interlace them at the back. When you roll your shoulders back, you're gonna have an arch in your back, right? So we wanna try to be a little bit deeper. So we're just gonna start to push the shoulders back and look up to the ceiling. You don't wanna let your head go all the way back, because that's a bit too much on your cervical spine. So just kind of look up a little bit and focus more on pressing your shoulders down and getting that arch in the top of your back. We're going to take big deep breaths. So as you inhale, think about rolling your shoulders back and lifting up your heart a little bit more. And then as you exhale, just relax. And then we'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, roll back and lift. And then exhale, relax. One more time. And then relax. Nice. All right, let those shoulders and arms go. All right, 6 spinal exercises we just did. The healthier your spine is, the healthier you are, the healthier your body is. Think about how many things, different things are attached to your spine. If your spine is healthy, everything else is going to be healthy too, okay? So those are just simple things that you can do every day, all right? Let me know if I can help on that. All right, we're going to come down to the mat, and we're going to work on some low lunges, because we do low lunges in a lot of classes, and it's something that our blocks can be very helpful to be able to help us get into it, as well as help us get deeper into it. So from your knees, we're going to bring, go ahead and just bring one knee out. And we want that front knee, that knee to be stacked over the ankle, okay? That's proper yoga alignment. And then we're going to take the blocks on each side of our foot, wherever you're comfortable. Now I've got mine long side down. You might need them a little bit higher. Okay, so you put them wherever you're comfortable. I have short arms. Well, I'm just short in general, but my arms are short. So I'm either using blocks or I'm on the very tips of my fingers when I do low lunge to get the best stretch that I can get. So from here, we've grounded in through that front foot. We're going to tuck the back toes and lift the knee. So you see my chest is open and my right hip is pushing down. This is a very nice, properly aligned, deep, low lunge. This is how you want to do your low lunge. So as we're here, we're just going to take a couple deep breaths. And then we're just going to relax that back leg down. Overextending your knee, which is taking your knee forward, is just pushing and stretching that knee a lot more than we should. There's a lot of talk going on about that. Some people say that it's really not a big deal, but I've learned through all my training that in these lunges, it really is important to have that knee stacked over the ankle so you're not putting any undue pressure onto your knee. We do a lot of low lunges in our class, so I always try to cue that. Let's try the other foot. So bring that other foot up, get that knee stacked right over your ankle. We're going to come down to those blocks. and pushing and grounding through that front foot. We're going to tuck our back toes and lift our knee. Okay, so because our chest is lifted, our hip is going down further and we're getting a bigger stretch. So let me show you something. If I were to put my hands all the way down, you see what happens to my back and my chest? And you probably can't see this, but my hip came up. I'm not really getting the best stretch that I can get here. So in my practice, I come to my tippy toes and I lift and I automatically drop that back hip. But blocks, which I probably should use in my practice more, and I will, make it so much better, a much better, deeper stretch. All right, come on down, relax yourselves down. All right, so let's sit back into a hero pose. And we're going to go into a half pigeon. One of my favorite poses, one of the best hip openers and stretches that you can get. Good place to use blocks and maybe a strap in certain situations, all depending on your hips. So let's take this nice and slow. Okay, have those blocks if you've got them up here. And I believe that I posted about this, getting blocks and a strap for this. Amazon has sets that you can get pretty inexpensive, under $20 to $25. I've seen TJ Maxx have sets too. So if it's something you're working on, I really highly suggest purchasing 2 blocks and a strap. So I've just brought my knee forward here, and what I'm doing behind me is reaching those back toes to the back of the room. And as I do that, I'm dropping this right hip a little bit more and getting into a deeper stretch. I have several students that need to do their half pigeon like this because they struggle with opening their hip. If you can, okay, and maybe blocks would help with this, what we want to do is start pulling that front foot forward so our shin is coming out and our knee is going out wider so that we have that hip opener. We're getting down lower in a deeper stretch. The most important part is that your hips are centered. When your hips are centered, your spine is centered. Your spine is straight, and that's what we need to have in our half pigeon. So that knee should go, first of all, wherever you're comfortable. Okay, you don't want that knee to hurt. And sometimes if you flex your foot, that helps with any kind of knee pain that you might have. But if you need to bring it in, that's okay. Okay, if you need to bring that knee in, and if you need to use blocks or something to get yourself up higher so that your back leg and back hip are stretching down a little bit further, then I would suggest doing that. We always go into resting pigeon from half pigeon. A resting pigeon is just resting in this pose, resting in this hip opener. So once we've taken a few seconds to get settled into that pigeon, we want to lengthen our hands and our spine. We want to make ourselves as long as we can and then relax down onto our foreheads into our resting pigeon. Now, some people can't go down that far, and coming to your forearms is fine. Okay, there are times when I put that block right under my head and relax my arms and my arms over that block. That can be more comfortable for people. We really want to relax here, okay, and just let those hips and legs stretch and open. Those breaths, those big deep breaths are very, very important in these big stretches. Your exhales are what kind of tells your brain that you can relax, okay? It tells those big muscles, all right, now let's relax. So the more you're able to focus on that breath and exhale, the more you'll be able to get deeper in big stretches. And you're just relaxing. You're relaxing your whole body a lot more with those exhales. All right, so we're going to push ourselves up. And we're just going to kind of push that knee back. All right, and then come down to seated pose. This is a hero pose, and we'll do that on the other side. All right, so let's start to come forward, and then we'll bring that other knee forward. Okay, so we've got everything straight right now. And we're reaching those toes to the back of the room. Now, if it's comfortable for you, if it's an option for you, we're going to start sending the knee out wider and bringing that foot more out to the front so that shin is parallel. But if you do that and you notice that maybe you have to lean on one hip, okay, you don't want to do that because then your hips aren't going to be centered. Sometimes a block right under that hip will help you with that. Okay, it'll help you from leaning. Okay, so then once you get settled, do this in front of a mirror. A mirror really helps in yoga, helps you see that you're doing everything correctly. Then we want to go into resting pigeon. So we're going to lengthen down, and maybe you're on your forearms. Maybe you need a block or a pillow to set your forehead on, or maybe you can come all the way down. Okay, several different options here. But you really want to try to lengthen the spine and lengthen the arms as much as you can so that you've made your spine pretty flat down. But of course, if you're up here on your forearms, you're not going to get totally flat. But what you've done is you've settled in with those hips and you're breathing in that hip opener pose. And let's come on up and out of that. Woo! Fantastic hip opener pose. Okay, we're going to use that block one more time at the end of practice, but now we're going to go into focusing on how and when and why you should use your strap. So, you can do this standing too, but I'm going to show you doing this seated. Okay, we do a lot of standing forward folds, and this is a seated forward fold. Now, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see the most important part of the stretch, which is your spine. Okay, there's a huge correlation between how long and how straight you keep your spine and how much you're going to be able to stretch your legs. So I put that strap right under my feet, right around the middle of my feet, and I'm holding on and I'm getting myself nice and tall. What you want to do is just pull forward, leading with your chest, keeping the shoulders back. And then if you are flexible, okay, and you are able to keep going down with that back straight, with those shoulders back, okay, keep going a little bit more. Okay, if you're up here and you're like, oh man, I can't pull myself down, it's all right. Concentrate on pulses, breathing, and just keep pulsing. And then the more you do this, the more you'll be able to get yourself down a little bit deeper. So something else that I'm doing here is I am hinging at the hips, okay? I've lifted up and I'm hinging at the hips, sending everything forward. And you don't have to go far to feel that stretch in your hamstrings. Okay, and your glutes and your hips. But this is really a big hamstring stretch, and they are big boogers to stretch. All right, now come on up. So if we go down to the floor, to your mat, I'm gonna stay sideways so you can see me from the side. We could do that same thing if you're more comfortable doing it on your mat, lying down. Sometimes it is a little bit more comfortable to do it down here. We've still got that strap in the middle of our feet, and then we bring them in this way. So if you're doing it this way, guess what? You can't round your spine. You could round your shoulders like I'm doing right now. You want to try to keep those shoulders pressed down, but your spine is pretty straight, and you're probably able to push those feet down a little bit more than you would have if you were sitting or maybe standing. If you're standing, you could do the same exact thing. Breathing, big exhales. All right, feet up. So we're going to let one foot go down, and we're going to work on doing a deep open hip opener out to the side. So I'm holding onto that strap, and I'm going to push that foot out to the side. And I'm going to pull, by using this strap, I'm able to pull my foot down and push my leg down a lot deeper than I would without the strap, with my hand. So if this is hurting you, if you're like, oh, I just don't like this, bending your knee and doing it with your knee is also an option, okay? You're still going to get that hip opener, and you're going to get that stretch. It's not going to be as deep, but that's okay. Maybe work on that first, and then after that, if you feel more comfortable, maybe work on that side stretch with your strap. All right, let's bring that leg up, and we're going to switch. Left leg. All right, let's send it out to the left. Keeping both your shoulders on your mat. Okay, sometimes we lift up with the opposite shoulder. I want you to concentrate on both shoulders pressing down as you're pushing that foot and that leg open as far as you can. Couple deep breaths. And bring that leg up. All right, and let it go. Bring your leg down. Okay, so sometimes if I don't do a half pigeon in my class, I will always do a figure four. That's a different way of doing a half pigeon. And if you can't do half pigeon, I suggest doing your figure four. So we're going to use a strap. I'm going to take my strap behind my hamstring, okay? And then my other foot, I'm going to put on that quad, and I'm going to pull on that strap that was behind my hamstring, okay? Now, with this strap, I am able to keep my shoulders down and pull in deeper. Okay, this is what happens when you don't have a strap. I'll see people reaching behind their hamstring, but their backs are up and their shoulders are rounded. Okay, you want to be flat down, and if you can do that and pull in, or you could also extend your leg and reach up and pull your leg, so you could do your strap down around your hamstring, or you can do it up here for a much bigger stretch, pushing the shoulders in. All right, let's try the other side. So we're going to take that strap to the other leg. All right, we're going to take the other foot and put it on top of our quad, and using that strap, we're going to pull our hamstring up. Okay, pushing the shoulders into your mat. If you want to try to go a little deeper, take your strap up around your calf and pull it in that way. All right, we'll let that go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's take that strap to the side. All right, so we are going to go into Supta Baddha Konasana. I don't use yoga Sanskrit very much in my yoga practices, but that's a fun thing to say. Supta Baddha Konasana. It's reclined butterfly. It's one of my favorite poses to do. It is a restorative pose, and I'll show you why it's a restorative pose. I'll turn to the side again so you can see me. I do this a lot of times in the beginning of our practice, but sometimes at the end. What we want to do is have that arch in our back. Okay, so we take that block, or you could use a pillow, and we want to have it like somewhere around our ribs back there, so that we can lean back and the crown of our head is on our mat. So until you kind of figure out where that is best for you, maybe turn the block in different directions. I don't like it long way. I like it the other way, going up my spine. You want it kind of higher, more so than lower, so that you're getting that arch back. So why do you think this is a restorative pose? Right here, because this is holding your body, your upper back, your shoulders, your spine, in the opposite way that our spines are going most of the time. So in our daily lives, we are walking and we are sitting, and a lot of that time, our upper backs are rounded and our shoulders are going forward. So this is restoring our spine by doing the opposite. So I'm opening my hips here. I put my feet together, okay? And then I let my knees kind of kind of going out. This is a good way to just start to gently open your hips, okay? So we've got the hip opener, we've got the restorative part of our upper body, and then left hand right over your heart and right hand over your stomach. We're going to close our eyes, and as you inhale, I want you to lift up your heart and your chest and fill up your lungs. And as you exhale, okay, that part of our body is dropping, but now we're pushing out on the belly and engaging the core, like we did in those belly breath exercises. This is also a great time to just pay attention to your heart beating, to your lungs expanding, to your diaphragm expanding, to your belly going up and down. Maybe taking a few seconds to be grateful for the fact that our bodies are simply amazing, and all of the things that are going on inside of our bodies that we can't see, but we can feel. And when we take these kind of moments, we're taking the time to be still and feel it, and be grateful for it, and be happy for it. So we're going to be here for a good minute, maybe even a minute and a half, and just relax and do all those things that we just talked about. I'm going to go ahead and relax my hands by my side. And I'm going to lean on one side so I can remove the block. And then as I come back down to my back, I want to make sure that I've opened my shoulder blades. And I'm going to stretch my toes and lengthen my legs. Take my arms to my side, kind of flutter the fingers and the toes. Let's just close the eyes and take a couple more deep breaths for Shavasana. As we come out of Shavasana, I always like to focus on our fingers, our toes, our hands, our feet, our ankles. These are the little parts of our bodies that do amazing things, right? So I like to pay attention to them for a little bit. I like to wiggle them, pay attention to each one. I like to circle wrists and ankles, flex and point the feet and the hands. And then we'll just lean over to one side of our body and push ourselves up. And we'll sit in that easy pose or just somewhere that's comfortable for you. Let's close our eyes. Take a couple more deep breaths. Placing palms together, bring the heart or the thumbs to the heart, actually to the sternum, rolling the shoulders back. We'll take those thumbs up to the center of our forehead, our third eye chakra, and we will bow down. Namaste. My soul honors your soul. I'm always glad to have people around me, either physically or online. I appreciate people and energy and everything that comes with a yoga practice. Thanks for being here. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions. If I can help you in any way start or deepen your yoga practice, I am accessible to anyone. I will see you all again. Take care. Bye-bye.